everyone. I'm Marie Smith, National Training Director of the KHM Travel Group. And with me today is Nicholas Zenobi from the Globus family of brands as the European Tour Director. Good morning, Nicholas. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Maria. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. I'm absolutely loving it. I love your country, and I've been here for a couple of weeks now, and I'm going to be still here for another 2 weeks. So that's
very good.
Pretty cool place.
Great. What we're going to do today is ask Nicholas a few questions to see why your client should be traveling on a Globus escorted tour in Europe. So knowing that Globus has a reputation for having the most experienced tour directors, and understanding that you have 16 years experience in the field, but I think your experience goes well beyond those 16 years. How did having both your parents in the business of being tour directors influence your decision to follow this career path?
Actually, it's, I have to say it really did, in the sense that, growing up with, a father that's always done this job, a mother that was a tour rep. I've always been in I've always been hearing about the traveling business since I was a kid, and listening to all these amazing stories that my father had to bring back at home, and sharing with the family was something, a really big input for me to coming into this career. And I have to say it was a little easier for me to enter because many things I knew from back at home, and it's very important to know some small little details that will help you out in this amazing career. I absolutely love being a tour director.
And I know there's several company choices that people can choose when they choose escorted tours. Why is Globus the tour of choice in Italy?
I can assure you that everybody in my position wants to be a Globus tour director. And we want to all be Globus tour directors because Globus has been here for such a long time that has managed to reach certain standards that nobody else has managed to reach yet. Globus is an extremely serious company. It's a Swiss-owned company. And for me, it is extremely important to have a serious company behind me because I need to deliver that dream that people are there for. And with Globus, this becomes much easier for me to do because it's a very steady, easy product. Globus will take you to the places that you need to see. So if we are in certain areas of Italy, if there's something of relevant importance, we will be on our program. Some other companies, kind of don't do this for cost reasons. So Globus is definitely a steady, easy product, and definitely a very good choice for our customers.
And I understand that Globus has many different features that are only unique to Globus, such as the VIP experience as well as the local favorites. Yeah. Can you give us a little insight on those?
Yes, of course. We would, let's say, I will just go through very briefly in a typical day in Rome. Rome is a place that attracts a lot of visitors. We would, of course, everybody that goes to Rome wants to go and visit the Sistine Chapel, of course, and of course see the Vatican Museums, the beautiful St. Peter's Basilica. You want to go inside the Colosseum. All these things can take a long time to be achieved because lines are extremely bad. Just to give you an example, the Vatican Museum attracts approximately 20,000 visitors every day. With Globus, I will have made a reservation that will allow me to enter at a certain time. This will be possibly around about 8 o'clock in the morning, and this is before anybody else can actually enter. It's open to public only at 8:45 a.m. We will be able to enter before everybody. We will be able to arrive at the Sistine Chapel before all these immense crowds of people that are trying to reach the Sistine Chapel, and this makes a big difference because arriving at the Sistine Chapel with 100 people with you and arriving with 2,000 people ahead of you makes a big difference. From the Sistine Chapel, I can use a special passage that other people can use that will connect me to St. Peter's Basilica. If you would be an independent traveler, what you will have to do, you would have to backtrack, walk back. Of course, this is extremely time-consuming. Walk all around the Vatican walls and arrive in front of St. Peter's Basilica where you'll find another line. So at that point, we will probably already have saved about 2 to 3 hours line up. When we come out of the Basilica, we will reach the Colosseum. At that point, the lines are still very long. Another about probably an hour and a half for an independent traveler. We just skip that. So, in a whole day in Rome, we can achieve something that people would probably achieve in 2 days' time. So, we still give some, quite a bit of free time in the afternoon too. So, if some people, for some people, the idea of free time is spending free time lining up to get into places. Globus is absolutely not doing this. Another thing that we've introduced now, our clients are actually, slowly changing. The desires of people are changing nowadays. So they wanted even more interaction with the local communities. And we've picked up on some marvelous ideas that we call local favorites. Our local favorites, you'll be seeing several local favorites on every Globus tours, and I can give you an example of a beautiful local favorite. When we would leave Venice, moving down south, going towards possibly Florence, we will stop in a little town called Modena. You probably have heard about this very famous balsamic vinegar that comes from Modena. Here in America, balsamic vinegar is very, very famous nowadays. If you've tried the one I've seen at the supermarkets just around the corner from here, it's probably not the one that you will be tasting in Italy. Balsamic vinegar nowadays goes for approximately $100 for an ounce. Balsamic vinegar has to be at least 25 years of age. And the balsamic vinegar that we try comes from a tiny little balsamic vinegar producing actually family-owned place, and it's an amazing experience for people. A place that you will never find by yourself. We would drive in the middle of nowhere around the countryside of the beautiful region of Modena. You see all the beautiful vineyards that will produce the typical red grape that gives this amazing product. And this little old lady will come down and speak to us and really gives us this. She can transmit so much passion to every single person there just because she's been doing it for all her life. And not only her, our ancestors have always been doing this. And we will try with Globus, we will walk up these steps, we will go up underneath the roof where she keeps these very special barrels where we will be tasting a balsamic vinegar that is 100 years of age.
Now, Globus offers different styles and paces for their escorted tours. Can you elaborate on the differences of a panorama and a regional tour?
Yes, a panorama would be a multicultural destination, so you would absorb and see probably more than one country at the same time, and that would not be a bad idea for people that are prepared to do something like that. Of course, you need to see how much time you have and what your experiences, what you're expecting from your own experience. Let me give you an example. You could. There's a beautiful tour that would cover Italy and Greece. That would be a fantastic tour. I would consider that to be a panorama tour. So we know nowadays that airfares are quite expensive. So why not, if you can, join two countries together? So you would land in Rome. You would have a nice little tour of the beautiful Italian cities: Rome, Florence, Venice, and then take this beautiful ferry that really looks like a cruise ship. We have all personal, nice, lovely cabins with personal facilities inside. Spend the night on there, relax, and arrive into Greece. And at that point, a bit of a beautiful tour of mainland Greece, and then you would fly out of Athens. So you would basically catch the two countries just for the one airfare to come to Europe. The regional tour will be more of a selected option on one country only, and this will make you absorb the old culture of one country in a bit of in a more profound, I would say, way. So a typical Italian tour would of course cover only Italy for different periods of time. You can have tours that are 7-day tours up to tours that are just over 2 weeks. So and they can all be definitely spent in the most, for me, beautiful country in the world, Italy.
Now, I think some people believe that escorted tours are for the retired community, but what are you finding is the typical Globus client these days?
Yeah, but this is in fact a misconception again. The escorted touring the business is changing completely. We our customers are getting younger and younger. I would say in their 50s and in panorama tours, the tours that are a little faster, even a younger age sometimes. And it's beautiful to see that ages really filter out at different times of the year. So sometimes people say, but I wouldn't want to travel with families or younger kids. Usually families and younger kids just come in certain periods of the year because, of course, of the school breaks. People of a certain age will come because of climate change and getting a bit more cooler weather, and if they have the availability of going when they want, they will move at other times of the year. So it's pretty constant that you will have a very homogeneous group on the actual bus, and this makes things beautiful for people.
Now, I know with Globus we do a lot of family tours, but also religious-focused tours.
Yes.
How does a religious tour focus differ from a normal Globus tour?
But a religious tour will, of course, focus more on the religious aspects of certain countries. We have a beautiful Catholic tour in Italy. You can imagine for a Catholic what it is like to experience and see the Pope. This is what we offer for people that come on that particular tour. The Pope will have the audience, and we will be there for his audience. You can imagine, for a Catholic, seeing all the beautiful basilicas, the 4 basilicas of Rome. You can imagine what it can be like to have Mass in the beautiful Basilica of St. Francis, where St. Francis from Assisi is actually buried, St. Catherine from Siena, of course St. Anthony from Padua. But this doesn't have to necessarily move off people that just have a special interest into religion. Sometimes people that not necessarily have to be Catholic. You would go on a Catholic tour in a place like Rome. You would go to see the beautiful church that contains the chains that St. Peter's was imprisoned with. The chains are actually still there, so you can imagine how important this would be for a Catholic. But if you're not Catholic, you just turn your head around, and there's the beautiful Moses by Michelangelo. So it can combine both interests there through once.
Now, having experience with both Globus First Class escorted tours and Cosmos Value escorted tours in Europe, what are the major differences between the two brands?
But Cosmos is definitely a very good value way of moving and coming into Europe, or doing the tours that we actually offer. Of course, there are some differences. We always say you pay for what you're actually getting. On a Cosmos typical tour, your locations will not be the same. Globus has some amazing locations. Locations in Europe are very important. We sleep right down into the center of town. With Cosmos, your hotel will still be nice hotels, mostly be 4-star hotels, but they will be a little further out of the actual city. Globus will have more inclusions. Globus will take you to the Vatican Museum, will take you to see the David. These things with Cosmos will not happen. But of course they will be possible. If you want to do them, you will be able to add on onto an excursion if you want, or even independently do these things. We'll always put you in a situation that you're not going to be stuck in a hotel. You will always, if you want to do something by yourself, you will always be able to move with your public transportation, to do more independent activities if you would like to do so.
Nicholas, can you tell me the value that you as a tour director bring to the clients who are traveling on a Globus tour?
My job is a very complex job. There are many little aspects about my job. Of course, it's not only the fact of putting you in an easy line to enter the Vatican Museum. I'll be there literally following you in every single aspect of the whole tour. I'll be there making sure that your luggage will make it to the next hotel. I'll be there making sure that if there is a complication on the tour, let's say in Italy, strikes or things that are quite common, a museum will shut down for a certain reason, the Pope is having something special and the Vatican Museum will not be able to be accessed on that particular day, I'll be the one that will know and detect these things in time and will still manage to run your program smoothly. I will postpone, I will move things around, and I will make sure that every single thing is delivered to the client. I would assist clients on things like injuries. These things, of course, can happen when you're abroad, and of course, insurances are always very good to assist our clients. But of course, when a client goes to a foreign hospital and has to be the feeling of for them is, I can understand this. It can be for a very difficult situation for them. I will be there assisting them till I can, and if I have to, in a sense, leave with the rest of the group and go away, keep on going on the tour, I will be in contact with my client till he's in Italy for the last day. I will continuously make myself calling the actual client on a daily basis, at least 2 or 3 times a day most of the time. So many things will be covered by me, and of course my main objective is to actually deliver and get the client as a satisfied client. There's nothing more gratifying for a tour director more than that little hug at the end of the tour, or that little tear sometimes from the person that says goodbye to you, and it's an absolutely fabulous feeling, and that's what I'm there for.
Thank you so much for all the information today. It was really great getting to speak with you before this and getting to learn a little bit about Globus and the life of a tour director and the life of being on tour. To learn more about Globus, log on to globusfamilypartner.com and take the GTE, Globus Tour Expert Program.